Right. Hello, hello, hello. You always have to hit the live buttons here. Let's see if I've got that. All right. Perfect. All right. Welcome. Go ahead and say hello. Let me see your say who's here. Let me know. Let me see where you're from. Tell me where you're from if you're new. It's the first time you're seeing me. Welcome. I'm Kathy Freeman. I have two memberships, My Art Sisters, where we focus on the wonderful world of art, and a second membership called Real Positive Change. I've reopened that. That is a business I have of coaching. I'm focusing on those, all those blocks in that we have as we are in our midlife and the challenges that come to us, and how we can really navigate through all these interesting challenges, these challenges of our health, challenges of aging. It's a beautiful thing to age, and to be able to, the world would have us think that we've got to get rid of all the wrinkles, we got to get rid of all the gray, and we've got to, look like we're still back in the 20s and 30s. And that's how the world would have us. But I think a lot of people, if you've been noticing over the last several years, more of the celebrities, you might say, are rebelling against that and sharing that this is a beautiful stage of life. And there is so much more ahead. And so I'm focusing on, as far as with my Real Positive Change at this point in that whole midlife moving forward, and really being able to just open up our creativity again. If there's any blocks on being creative, letting those go, changing those a little bit, and being able to move forward, creating a happy life, being able to deal with all the emotions that we get, bombarded with in this particular stage of life. It's almost like the reverse of a teenager, sometimes. And that's what I found for me is as I go ahead and use my own coaching processes, which this is a part of it, this creative reminders and the art journaling. It is a wonderful way to be able to just grasp and recenter myself. I enjoy it so much more than yoga, which I've never been. I know when women do that, and I know it's so healthy for you, but I don't know. I've never really enjoyed it myself. I do love to get out and walk and do those kind of things, but I've not been a yoga type of person for myself personally. But I respect and love those that are, drawn towards it. And I think it's because this is my outlet. This using my creativity and being able to write and journal, that's my outlet. And that's my way of being able to bring that calm in. That, and most importantly, scriptures in my talk with God each day. So let's get started a little bit, just because get my little camera there to change. I've got here my journal. I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Let's put this on something else so that you don't just see me on here. You actually, give me a minute, because as I play around with this. There we go. Found the perfect one. This is I've pulled out today the journal that's my watercolor. Let's see. I want to get this centered back up. There we go. My watercolor journal. I haven't used this in a while, and I wanted to pull this back out. And this is the one I love. I've been creating over the last, I don't know, half years, whatever, 6 months. And I've got all of my little statements, and I use the Creative Reminders library in for, let me go ahead and cut that right now. There we go. A little piece of that need to be trimmed, but so much fun. Loved doing this one. This one was a lot of fun. Love doing that one. Love doing that one. So fun to look back at them and to see what you've created, isn't it? That's the beauty of having your art journal, and to be able to, really refocus your thoughts on that. And this one I did a couple of weeks back with you, and this was a little bit different. I wanted to journal this one to where I wrote in here all of my thoughts and kind of followed the artwork with it. And today I'm going to be doing this theme of seashells. Now, this originated, I was talking with a woman from my church, and we were visiting a little bit. And I was telling her about how, we kind of go, life has this ebb and flow. We move back a little bit to kind of just go inside ourselves and to really figure things out, or just to feel a little bit of, just some downtime. And then once we kind of get that going, it's like the ocean. We pour ourselves out into the world and out into others. And so this is a wonderful time. This is a wonderful time for that pulling back into ourselves. Oh, sorry about that. And this page is a reminder of it. So what I did is I wrote down, I had written to her kind of my thoughts on that. And this is part of it. Those moments in life when we feel like pulling back often prepares us to bring something new and beautiful forward, just like the ocean waves. If you watch those, I love the ocean just as much as I love the mountains. Both of them are wonderful. Anyway, hi, Sue. It's good to have you here. Thank you for being bold enough to put your hello on here and say hello. Anybody else? Go ahead and just pop in here and say hello yourself. Anyway, I love that, the ocean comes back in and it brings all those wonderful little surprises with it. And it's the seashells. And then I always start when I'm working on, doing my art journaling that. My little process is to go to the Creative Reminders library that I have for my members, use it myself, and I look up something depending on what I'm kind of working on. And it's interesting because I was really feeling a little bit of unmotivation. And I was avoiding a little bit. I could feel myself just avoiding something. I wasn't sure what it was, but I was feeling a little bit of avoidance. And so, and Sue, this is going to be coming out new, okay, for y'all in the Creative Reminders library. But I created a chart so I could look that up, and I know exactly where to go now with that. That's your 400 to $4.99. So I skimmed through that little section, and I found for myself this one. I choose to live my life with honor, dignity, and embracing each day with purpose and gratitude. I feel the magnificence of each new day. Don't you love that word, magnificence? I feel the magnificence of each new day, knowing that I am called to walk in integrity and reflect God's goodness in all that I do. So that is my creative reminder as I start to paint this and as I keep this. All right, what I'm going to do here is I wanted to create this in a little bit of analogous, maybe even some monochromatic, where that basically means you're using the same color, but just different shades of it. I'm going to use my watercolors rather than acrylic paints. So I already put in the emails. If you are on the email list, if you're not, go to realpositivechange.com, get on the email list. It's on that front page, but this little download I already provided in the email this past week, and I sent it out again this morning. But I used this and I separated the shells. I was going to make, this is really geared for a 6x8 piece of watercolor paper. And then I decided I wanted to put it in my book. So I separated them and transferred them into the book here. So let's move this over, make sure you can see where I'm at. And I'm going to find, how are you doing, Sue? I missed our call. I missed talking with y'all. I didn't miss the call, but I missed talking with y'all yesterday. I had a meeting that popped up that I needed to take care of. And so I wasn't able to make that one, but I knew ahead of time. So our calendar is always in the community center. If there's ever a question like, oh, what's going on? Or what's the lesson? What's happening? Sue and I love to talk. She comes on and we have a Monday talk, get together with everyone, whoever can join us. And I love catching up on what everybody's doing. All right, I'm going to put this over here onto my paper for right now so you can kind of see the colors and how I'm mixing it and work that way. Yes, like I said, some people love yoga. I love art, and that is mine. All right. Now, let's just play with this. I don't really have any particular, so we're just going to put this on. And I didn't put also a masking. A masking is what helps keep the white areas white. I did not put a masking on. I do like to use rubber cement for that. I know there's masking fluids, but I find it's easy to use. I think it's not a favorite of people because it's a little bit of the fumes or something with it. But it's what in school they taught us to use that. So it's, what you're usually taught, it becomes your favorite. So we're just going to have fun and kind of create this. So this shell, as it's going around here, and it is growing, I'm going to let's add just a bunch of different colors to it. So I'm going to add water in here, and I don't mean a bunch. I'm going to keep, like I said, in the blues and the purples and those shades, and because this is for my art journal and it's my morning therapy. Really good. There we go. Bring that around. Tell me what y'all have been doing so far. I started using the calendar more. Oh, good, good, good. Thank you for telling me that, Sue, because I was thinking, is anybody looking at the calendar? I hope they are, because, yeah, good deal. And I hope I put it in a place. The community center will be starting to use that a little bit more. It'll become more second nature. Hi, Jean. Good to have you here today. Working in this art journal and the beginning. All right. I'm going to pull over some more water here. And a lot more water. Let's grab a purple. That is a really rich purple. And I'm going to drop that in and bring it. Let's see, just bring it. I share this time with you on Tuesdays to kind of act as a time of, if you've got any kind of creative art, creative blocks or anything, to just help spur your, you can't help when you're watching someone else to not want to pull out your own and get going. So that's my goal here, is to really ignite your creative spark, help you, or just give you a moment of relaxing and kind of regrouping. Don't we all need those? And that's what the whole message for this page is take that time for yourself. Oh, sorry. I hate it when I do that. I have these super long brushes. Let me grab a bigger brush. And they always click on my light. I think as we get into this new stage of our life, or a different stage of life, you kind of earned that time to just stop and relax a little bit. But we're so used to go, 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 aren't we, that we almost feel guilty when we stop and do something. Or we don't feel, it's not guilty. I don't really go to guilt. Maybe not as productive because it's not for someone else. How about that? Or it's not. So what I'm doing is I'm going around here on this particular shell. And it's going to have to dry a little bit. I probably should have started this before. Sometimes I'll start my project, my journaling page, before I actually go on, so that you can see more of the finishing of it than actually the the beginnings of it because you have to let it dry and give it time to dry and etc. Like I said, if you just come on the email, and you both are on the email list, you can find the template for this page in your email that I sent out. I sent it out again this morning and I sent it out last week. All right. Moving around with that. Now I'm going to take that purple and the blue. We're going to push it over here, a little bit of it. Let's push it way over there. Let's grab some of the purple and bring it together, and it creates a totally different, wonderful shade. We're going to add this in here. Now, when you're doing this, just, creating on the go here, you might say, you really have to stop your mind from critiquing as you're going along. So anytime you're doing your own little, I want to call, well, not legally could say art therapy. So I don't want to say that, but you know what I'm saying. Anytime you do your own just relaxing artwork, there we go. Let's use that. You really have to stop your mind from the critiquing that we tend to do when we're busy creating a piece that's maybe going to be put out there more for others to see. And that's the trick, is to train your brain to just turn itself off and let yourself really enjoy the process of what you're doing. Over this, put a layer. And I think I'm going to be tempted to pull out my dryer. I'm trying not to use it, but and that's not totally dry, but it's got a little head start, right? Okay, and I've got this seaweed, sea grasses on the side. For you that have just joined me, welcome, welcome. I'm going to read these comments here in a second, but what I'm doing is I'm actually working in my art journal. And my email, I handed out a template that could be used. This is all geared towards a thought that I wanted to record and keep, and that is that those moments in life, there's times when we just feel like we want to we need to pull back. We need to be able to just pull back and regroup, whatever you want to say, but it's okay. And how important those times of pulling back are, because once we've done that and we've kind of regrouped, reignited our energy and our motivation, and that's what I was needing. I just need a little reigniting of energy and motivation. Then we can just go like the ocean and flow forward. And as we do, we're able to take all of this wonderfulness with us, all that we have to offer. we go. We've got that going. All right, let me look at these comments. I started painting some wooden Christmas ornaments. Yay! We all are feeling that Christmas time, aren't we, right now? I love that you send emails. I use them to get to your lives. Oh, good. Good, good, good. Thank you for telling me that. Yes, the links and that are in the emails. And don't forget too that if by chance you can't find the email or that because you're a member, My Art Sisters, you can go to the event center in our little art village, and I've got it. I'm streaming it in there. It's a little bit, you have to kind of, find the area to make comments. It's not as easy as just being on the Facebook, but it's being streamed. It's being streamed there. There we go. We got my green going. Oh, it's just starting to come together. This will be a great page to remind me of that. Let's go back in, and I'm purposely leaving. Like I said, I did not put masking down on this page. And so I'm being a little more careful on where I'm putting my watercolor. So I'm going to put this water down here to guide the color. And hopefully to leave some of those white spaces. Let's grab the original blue. Put that down, let that flow. And watercolor is really wonderful for me personally to let go of the need for perfectionism. Because for me, I don't try to control it. I can loosen up, I can just relax and let it flow. So I don't know if you enjoy it that much, or if you use it, but for me, it's a wonderful medium for that purpose. We're going around now. And the other thing is it takes layers to really make the impact of what it is that you want to create with it, to create your shading, and that you're actually putting down layers. And those layers are great for your mind to take a few minutes to just let go and relax. So we have here, I have watercolors combined with ink. Ooh, but you've got some vibrant colors there. Is it in a palette, or are they the inks that we've used in the past or that I've had are in jars, not jars, but bottles. Is that what you've got, Sue, that you're talking about? Or how is it housed? So the character starts coming out as you are putting down the layers and just adding layer upon layer. You're able to start bringing out the character of the shell. Let's see, I want to go to, I think it would be, let's grab this color from a different palette and see what happens. Yep, this whole process puts my little brain on hold and lets me. I've got another email that's going to come out. I was listening to, and this is a random thing here, so apologize. It's how my brain flows, though, sometimes. But I was listening to a couple of doctors over the weekend, and I loved it because I've always been interested in the effects that our emotions have on our health. And these doctors have become very much aware of that and are actually addressing that with their patients just as much as the physical, they're addressing the emotional and what's happening there. And what they've found, which my mom and I, we've talked about this for a very long time, but there's been studies out on this for, a good while. Things, events that are a little traumatic or, they don't have to be horribly traumatic, but they can be traumatic for us, can in the future have the potential, they're finding, trace them back for some of the illnesses that people are facing. It used to be that was kind of like I don't know, you use the word woo woo kind of thing. But now with the studies and the things that they're doing, they're finding so much more evidence and whatever they need for their scientific discoveries. And I love it because I think it's important for us, for our own health, to really take a moment and just let some of that stuff go. Here we go. You can see our shell is starting to come together. Use pens, draw lines after watercolors are dry. Oh, that would be beautiful. That would be beautiful. All right. Now I'm going to go over here and bring this color up in here. So far, I've just used, anything in the little blue family and gone over to the purple, which is right there next on the color wheel, close to the blues, and then the greens. So I'm keeping it within the analogous color scheme. Let's grab this dark blue. I don't know. Place that in here. It's always fun when it dries to just see how the water color, how it's kind of merged and the direction it's decided to take itself in. And as it does that, how it blends and creates such beautiful textures in your artwork. So no, this is not one of those masterpieces that I would, let's see what color that's going to be. Okay. The but it's perfect for this time and this moment of, this is our mental yoga, ladies. All right, I put that bright color there. So I'm going to bring that same bright color over here. like that. And bring it around the shell, that wonderful curve. All right, I'm going to stop at that. And I'm going to grab a smaller brush and a deeper green. Come back over my seaweed. Let's see. I need to put something under this because I'm going to get onto my other pages. There we go. I don't need it to be that sharp of a. Let's go with this one. I want to blend it in a little better than what it was doing. It was a little harsh. Thanks, Sue. You are so awesome. Thanks for your comment. It's true. Everything we create is a masterpiece, really, you know? So much fun. So much fun to just take a minute and just grab the paints and there we've got that one. I'm going to go over to this. Bring this color in. There we go. All right, I'm going to let that sit. This would be a great one to let it dry, like you said, right? And then come back in and do, I can see some white lines in that on that. So let's let that dry for a minute and let's move on over here to our little shell. Do we have time? We've got plenty of time. Going to move right on over here to this fun shell. Grab my brush. I've got the long end again, the long handle. And I think this one I'm going to pull in some of that magenta, some of that pink. Pink and yellow. Orange, something. I mean, you could keep it the white and just put the shading on it with a very pale gray or very, taupey brown kind of color. But when you can play in color, why not bring color? Bring it out. Okay. Make sure you can see this okay. And I'm just hitting right now these, you know how the shell kind of curves inward. This is the And my whole goal for doing this is to just give myself a page of beautiful color and images that can symbolize the statements in that. So that when I look at it, I remember, oh, yes, this one is about that wonderful thought of just allow yourself to, when you need to pull back in. And then, just like the ocean, though, make sure that you go back out. Because I think sometimes we can get stuck inside and just stay pulled in. But really, what we need to do is bring back out to the world the beauty that what we've gathered, what we've learned, or what we've gleaned, or just us. Because each of us are so unique and beautiful in different ways, and we add to this world. All right, so that's my morning pet talk and lecture. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I get carried away, don't I? Okay, that's so fun. Let's really water this down now. And I'm going to grab the larger brush. It's cleaned out. I don't want to contaminate. I'm going to really water this down. And come back over this now with a very light shade of the color I'm using. Okay. And while that's wet, I think it would be fun to grab this color that I've already got on my palette here. I've just used this brush, same brush. And let's hit it up here at the tops. And let the water that's on here migrate it in the direction it wants to go. Wipe that off that page. So you can take a deep breath and just improve your health with your creativity. There, that was a lot of fun. Bring up some from the bottom. Just for some continuity so that it all flows well, and that little shell is going to be done. Let that dry. Let's see. Let me dry this real quick. I'm going to go back and I'm going to bring in my white, or we can do the black and we'll do some line work on it. All right. Push this up so you can see. Part of me that wants to just put a little more color right here. Okay. And a little more here. I'm thinking of the shadowing and the shading of it a little bit. Put a little more over here. This is a dark color. So your contrast between your dark and your light, bringing out some attention. And I'm going to use the actual side of this brush to use my color to bring in some of those lines that I would be creating with my white. This is a great brush for doing that. We're getting some of that texture in there through our lines and our colors. Get some of that line in there. Oh, see how it's really just taking shape. You just got to let go. And if you're doing something that doesn't work out, paint over it. Right? Just paint over it. Because really, we're just here to express and kind of release some emotions. You know, we've got that flow of opening up our chest and letting some of that stuff, that tension and all those things that want to gather in there, let them out, let them go. All right, let me see. Did I do with my I stuck it under here. Let's see the actual shell, what we've got going on here. Okay, we've got some lines on that shell that are here. So we'll make those little curved lines around. Get to my paint. And this little section here. Just curve those lines around it. That'll help with that whole feeling of it going around. Hello and welcome. We've got more here. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for popping in. I think I'm going to start calling this art yoga. Give me a name. What is this? This whole using our art to calm our minds and just get lost in the beautiful colors. And what it's doing is it's actually just helping to open up our lungs and help us to breathe better. And when you get more oxygen, okay, this is a little health tip. I love holistic health, natural ways. Anyway, you open up those lungs and you're breathing more, you're getting more oxygen in. Getting more oxygen in, you're releasing the tension in your muscles. Just doing such great things for your body, for your mind. And I am having a blast. Like I've said, if you're new, you popped here, you're on my email list. This little template is in your email. Emails gets hidden over in spam. I don't know why. But they do. They get lost in spam. So if you haven't seen it and you're on my email list, you're like, Kathy, I didn't see one. Go to your spam. And interesting thing is I learned that there's a promotion section and there's a spam section. So who knows? It kind of dictates where, Right. Wow, that was a lot of fun doing that one. Let's dry it. We've got both sides. All right, I know drying is not the best way to do it. It's better to let it air dry. I know that. But for this particular gathering, I need to do the other. Okay, I've got my jelly rolls, which I love. They're also starting to dry out, some of these, and I need to get some new ones. So let's see how this little guy, if he's working. And he's not working well enough. You need to go over there. I need to start singling these out. Get myself some new ones. Let's see here. 8. What is this one? Well, that's kind of dry too. I'm sorry. What I also have is my white acrylic paint that I can use. So, we're not limited to just, and I'm wanting it to be, I'm going to go to my white acrylic because I want it to have, here's my line brush. I don't want just fine little lines. I want some real white areas. I'll put my paper down. Of course, the masking, putting on masking would take care of this. And it is the proper way to do it, the correct way. But this is my art journal. And in my art journal, anything goes. And I spend time doing this. Some people ask, why do you do that? Why do you take time to find these statements? Well, your mind can get stuck on looping on some, just some situations and the way your perceptions about those situations, and you can get stuck. and it doesn't want to let go of, and those thoughts all create emotions. Every thought creates an emotion. And so with that, let's see, where do I want to go this way with this. You feel those emotions, and they're all coming from a thought. And so I purposely take time each day. I try to listen to something in my scriptures or, a very uplifting spiritual thought. And I also take time. I don't do this every day, but I do address. Okay, what are you? How are you responding to life? Are you dealing with it well, or are you finding that you're getting stressed out? Is something that a situation creating some sort of a feeling that's not really serving you to show up as your best self? Of course, all that I explain a lot better in the Real Positive Change section. We'll go into that more, but the whole goal is show up as our best self in what we're doing. Enjoy life, live it. Whatever's going on, live it the best we can. We're all going to have challenges. We're all going to have a little bit of struggle or whatever, but live it the best we can. Okay, what am I doing here? What I'm doing is having a great time, and you're coming along this journey with me. So thank you for showing up today. Thank you for, yes, Jean, I've been saying this. There is a template for these seashells. They're in the emails, and you are on the email list. I know I saw your name. And so if you don't, if you're not seeing it, go into your spam, go into your, those areas that the email provider likes to throw people's emails into. I don't even, I'll sign up for people's emails. And if I don't open up the emails, then this provider thinks, oh, she doesn't want this. So it sticks it over in the spam section. And it's just that I didn't have enough time to open it yet. So make sure that when you see it, you open it. And I don't always provide templates for these little things, but I just really felt like it would be a benefit for you today and something you could enjoy. Find yourself, if you're part of My Art Sisters, if you're part of My Art Sisters right now, you have access to the Real Positive Change section. You have access to that. It won't be that way for the new individuals in the future, but those that are members right now of My Art Sisters have access and will continue to have access. I've got to announce that to everyone, Sue. Explain that. But in there, you will find some really great affirmations that you can, and really what they are is just wonderful thoughts to kind of help our mind. You've got to build a new pathway of thinking. If something's, if you've been, this one thought's been in there for a while, you've got to take the time to build a new thought. It doesn't just randomly happen. And that's the purpose of that library, is to be able to choose thoughts. So go in there and choose, see what's going on in your world and what might help you to kind of, well, this is fun doing it this way. Experimenting with your brush and seeing what your brush does. I'm just this is a liner brush, but what it's done is if I've lined along the way I was kind of pressing down on it, is it created a real heavy here and a light where the tip was. Gave a great effect purely by accident. I love happy accidents. I think that's why I'm willing to try some of these things, is because you never know exactly what it's going to come out with, but look how fun that is. All right. I think I've talked your ear off enough. And about time to call this good for the day. Let's see. Let's just do some little lines, white lines through this one. They can be faint. It's nice to have a liner brush because you can do a lot with that. And if you don't have a liner brush, I love those jelly rolls. It's just I don't have any that are actually, they start to dry out and then they don't work as well. But when you get those and they're working, they are phenomenal for doing little detail work like this. And if it's new to you and you haven't heard of jelly rolls before, it is spelled with a G. Is that under the camera? Backwards, probably. G-E-L-L-Y, roll, jelly roll. I just get them at Hobby Lobby, the art store, but you can always go online and get them. Okay, then, my friends, thank you for sticking this out with me. Ooh, let's go over here. Maybe we'll put some highlights on this just for the fun of it, just because I'm having a great time. It's fun to be with you here. There, just a little bit, maybe some highlights. Let's put it on the shell right here. Make that shell pop out a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to let this dry so I can close my book. And I always love looking back and refreshing my mind. There we go. Thank you so much for joining me. It is good to have you. If you're not on the email list, and when I send different things out, and you want to be on that email list, go to realpositivechange.com. You can also get there with kathyfreemanart.com. Both of those addresses go straight to the same page. And scroll down just a little bit, and my email, you can get on the email list. Anyway, we will see you again next week. I'll be working in my art journal. I like to work in it once a week and create something in it. So I'll see you then. Have a great, great day, y'all. Take care.